Hello, everyone. How are you? It is so good to see you once again. And yeah, I'm in here a few minutes late. I'll show you what I'm working on. I decided last night, I was trying to think, what am I going to do on today's show? And what I decided is I wanted to do a Bargello. So last night I came down about 11 o'clock and chose the fabrics. Then I came down here, I thought early enough this morning and got busy with the fabrics and realized that even though a Bargello is an easy quilt, there's some preparation that's needed. So anyway, let's see all who's here, but I do apologize for keeping you waiting. I hope you enjoyed chatting. So hello, everyone. Oh, my Susan must be busy today. So hello, can you see me and hear me okay? It's awfully bright in here today. I apologize about that. Let me turn this off and see if that helps. That helps a little bit. But it's nice to have the break. So, hello, Miss Jody. Inger is here. Hello, Inger. Hi, Sonia. Hi, sweetie. Cheryl Hogan. I mean, it is so good. Marsha and Pat. Yay, Pat. Kathy Klein is here. Susie Blake, our new cute member. I get so tickled at Susie. So, Cheryl Hogan, Marsha, it's so good seeing all of you. So, hello, I know, sunshine, what is that? And I heard that rain's coming back tomorrow, but it's going to warm up this week. And I tell you what, the first warm and sunny day, Michelle is here. The first warm and sunny day, Mark and I are going to go on a picnic. Even though it's not his thing, I'm going to make him. We're going to get out in that stuff called sunshine. We stay inside way too much. So hello, good reception. Okay, the other Thursday night, I had to start a new one. It was a mess. So it is good to see you. All right. Well, let me see. You know that the Thursday night art quilt is going well, and I'm real tickled with it. I can show you that real quick. So this is the progress we've gotten so far. Hopefully everything is still glued in place, but we're making good progress, and I'm taking it slowly, step by step, so that everyone can feel comfortable in what we're doing. So here it is, and we've gotten most of the color blocked in. So this week we're going to do a little, after I've got to take the invisible thread and stitch the basics down. Then we're going to start doing like some confetti work on it. I can't wait to show you that. So anyway, there is our art quilt, and this is on Thursday nights at 7:30 Eastern time. So we enjoy that. And then I've got all kinds of things to show you. Okay, got my gloves in, really tickled. And Cheryl was so good the other night, told me to put them on. But these are going to be my protective gloves because twice lately I have cut myself. So I'm tired of doing it. Hello, Kathleen Champ. It's so good to see you. And I don't think Kathleen Champ, this is the second time I've seen her. So, but anyway, these gloves are good. Kathleen, hold on to that thought. I'll be right back with you. These gloves are wonderful. I like them because they're not too thick and they're not too bulky. I can still feel stuff with them. Because the thing I hate about gloves is not being able to feel what I'm doing. And in fact, when I garden, I don't like touching anything meat or greasy. But I garden. I stick my hands in that soil because I want to feel it all. So anyway, I don't use gloves for the garden, but I now have to use them with cutting And I think one of the problems are these snips that I love so much. I'm so comfortable with them now, I forget that they're scissors. And when I start cutting, I'm not careful enough. The other day, I did catch the end of the glove, and because it's longer than my finger, but nothing didn't cut. So they're grade 5. These are especially helpful. They were made for like oyster shuckers and fish cleaners, processors, and so I'm real happy with them. And I've got Nadine's packed up, but not mailed yet. I haven't gotten anything mailed this week that I promised I was going to. So guess what Monday's first job is? So I've got a busy week coming up this week too. I've got my Mid-Atlantic class on Friday, I believe, the 26th. On the 25th, I go and get my results of my scans I had yesterday. So I see my surgeon for the first time since October. And then the 24th, I find they're going to have the results of the judging of the quilt contest. And I have I have no I mean, I just want my quilt to be accepted and seen at the show. I have no hopes of winning anything, but I'm going to be watching it live when they show it because I can't wait to see all the quilts that are there. So it's an exciting week for me. And yesterday, Friday, I went and had my test, and I feel really good about it. We'll find out. But I got my chest x-ray done. And then they had to do the CT scan, which used to be called CAT scan, but they dropped the A. And they had to do a dye uptake kind of dye thing that I didn't realize. So she had to put an IV in. She was the dearest, sweetest thing. And I didn't even feel it. I mean, it was so nice. She put the IV in and then put the stuff, and it kind of made you feel warm. I kind of had a hot flash there for a minute. But it was quick and easy. I was in and out of there in 20, 25 minutes. And then I went over to have my blood drawn. That woman stabbed me. I'm used to blood draws being easy, but this one hurt. But she got it, and pretty soon I was out of there, and I was happy. So anyway, that's the medical news about me. Oh, but I did get the results of my blood work and my urinalysis, and all my levels are really good. I think I might have a UTI. Not too much information. I know, so I'm waiting to hear about that. But the blood work was really good, and my blood sugar was down, and I'm very happy with that. So I said, Mark, my results of my test can't be that bad if the blood results were good. So that's what I'm going on, and I'm happy. And thank you for Michelle for being there for me. And when I got a little afraid of all of this, I'm not used to the whole cancer diagnosis and then going back in for rechecks. It's like, ugh. But just to tell, if anybody, I had a kidney stone, and when my doctor said, let's see why you had a kidney stone, they found a tumor, a cancerous tumor on my right kidney. So I no longer have a right kidney because it was a big tumor. But I'm doing great. And we don't expect any problems. And that's the one good thing about kidney cancer. You go in, you take it out, and usually you're done. So we'll see. And I'm happy. I don't know where Susan is today. I know she had a big to-do yesterday. So we're in good hands. Linda McCollum is our moderator for today. And we're in good hands. So, okay, now I'm going to get back to Kathleen Champ. I want to invite her to join our group. We've had quite a few new members lately. It's wonderful. If she wants to join our group's IO, and thank you, Kathleen. If Kathleen would send me an email at our time to quilt at twc.com. And so she has a deadline. She's quilt testing now and doing very well with it. I'm really proud of her. So I understand. And yesterday they had the farmer's wife all day sit and chat. And I wanted to be a part of it so much, but I had a zillion things to do. So now I will show you something I worked on this week. I don't know if y'all remember, but once in a while, I, oh, thank you. And quilt, what is quilt testing? Good question, Polly. There are quilt designers out there, and there are companies like the online Quilt Pattern Magazine that are constantly coming up with new patterns. And they want to make sure that the pattern has been written accurately, that there are no mistakes, and that it's written very clearly so that people don't get confused. When they publish this quilt pattern, they know it's right. So what they do is people volunteer and are chosen to be pattern testers. So they're given the pattern. They don't have to pay for the pattern, but they supply their own fabric, their own time. And usually, you try to be a tester that you don't have to actually give up the quilt. If they asked me to send in the quilt to them, then they'd have to give me the fabric too, and probably pay me a little bit for my time. But anyway, but quilt testers are very important people because they're the ones that make sure the patterns that you and I use are accurate. There's nothing worse than cutting out $100 worth of fabric and finding there was a mistake and you have to undo it, or you have to do it over. So quilt testing is really, really important. And I admire Bonnie and Susan for being very active quilt testers. So I was a quilt tester, and I know I've told you this story. I was a quilt tester for Mary May or Mary Mayhem and a couple others. And I found I was horrible at it. For one thing, you have to work on a time schedule, but I kind of do my own thing without even realizing I'm doing my own thing. And what they want you to do is they want you to read the directions and follow step by step what they've written. And that way you can find out if there was a mistake in it. Well, I would get through with whatever they wanted because I'd look at a picture and I'd done so many quilts. I totally forgot about making sure that the written word was correct. So I finally had to say, that's it. I am not a good quilt tester because I just tend to go off and do my own thing. I probably would not be a good editor of a book or a magazine either. So I just wanted to show you. I had these beads the last time I got a Michael's order, which was a couple months ago. And I've been wanting to make something with polymer clay to go with those pretty blue beads. And this past Monday and Tuesday, I didn't want to face all my new quilt promises I made to you about recording all of my unfinished projects and working on them. So I played with polymer clay for 2 days. And yeah, I do it too. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that yet. So I got to do this. Yes, I have to do this. I have beads waiting for me. But anyway, here are the beads that I made. And I wanted them to look pseudo-natural stone, something with a lot of mica in it or quartz in it or something like that. And this is the little bracelet that I made to go with the necklace. Yeah, see, that's it, Susie. That's the problem. Unless you are really good at sticking to the directions, which we all know Deb does not do directions well. In fact, one of the things I like to do is I like to purposely go get myself lost and figure out how to get home. I hate using a GPS unless I'm in a hurry. But anyway, but here are the beads that I made. Now, I like the way they turned out. This is the third try. The first 2 tries were awful. I was telling somebody this week that editing is so important. That's a hard thing for me because I tend to throw everything in the kitchen sink into anything. when I try to make a soup, it always comes out a stew because I keep putting stuff in it. So editing is something that, I have to work on. So this was the third try at the beads, and I'll show you the necklace now. But I knew I wanted something more than just these blue beads. So here are the polymer clay beads, and here is the kind of star bead here. And I used some of that fake gold leaf, and it worked, and it bakes nicely. And then I used the triple thick. I used triple thick on them because when I would used to watch the shows on how to do polymer clay and the fact that you had to use wet dry sandpaper and do all this sanding, no, that's too much sanding for a Deb. So I cheat and I use triple thick. It's an acrylic sealer that I use for my paper beads. And now this is when I might like my light to be turned on. But I use triple thick, which I use on my paper beads. And here is the star bead that I put a little bit of the gold leaf. And so I like it very much. And Mark's compliment to me, because sometimes I get a little chunky with these. I made one in pink that I swear looked like it came off of the Flintstones, So, but Mark said, that's one I can actually see you buying. And that's high praise for a Mark. So anyway, but I had fun, but this was my third try. And I'll have to one day bring down although my very first try is inside these beads. Because what I do is I use my junk clay, my mistakes, as the basis for my bead. And then I roll out the pretty clay very thinly and just layer it over it. So, I'm cheap. All right. So here's one thing I made. Took me 2 days just to come up with this. So the next time you think beads are too expensive, think again. So, all right. So that was that. And, oh my goodness. Let me see if you have any questions first. Well, see, I think, Kathleen, I think that because we weren't trained specifically, let me turn this back off. It's awfully bright. I think that because we weren't trained, I'm self-taught. I've taken classes only in the last couple years. But I think that that's one of the reasons we jump out there and do whatever. And it gives us a lot of bravery because we don't know that we're supposed to be afraid or cautious. We just see it and want to do it. So I think that can be a good thing. Let me tell you. I love what Pat said. My dad used to say that all the time. Pat said, if all else fails, read the directions. And that is me to a T because have you ever bought one of those cheap pieces of furniture and it comes with these directions and all of this myriad of kind of little weird, odd things, and you're supposed to read the directions? I'd rather have bamboo shoots shoved up my fingernails. So, hi, Diane57. So, anyway, well, a few things came in today. It's not that I've been buying so much because I've been careful. But it just slow shipping. Everybody's ordering. In fact, we've got a garage full of cardboard. And we really should try to recycle it because, everybody is ordering online. But I got my filing thread. Now, I want to tell you something first. The company that makes the filing thread is called Gunold, Gunold. And it has a nice feel to it. Look at it. You know me, I'm cheap as they come. So I wanted the best deal. Now, it's easier to buy from a sulky dealer. because they have really good photos of the thread, numbers, names, all of that. I went to the manufacturer site itself. I think it was the manufacturer's site. Oh, I don't have the paperwork in here. But I was able to get this. Okay. Yep, I went to the manufacturers, Gunnolds USA, from Kennesaw, Georgia. And that's not too far away. And I ordered this. Now, the shipping is high, but I got almost 2.5 times more thread for the same price as if I'd bought the smaller spools with cheaper shipping. So that's, to me, I know I'm going to use this. I know I'm going to love this. I do not have a metal brush yet. I need to get one from Home Depot. They're only $1 and something, but I'm not going in the store. I would have to have curbside pickup. So I probably need to think of something more to put with the order than $1.17 or 27-cent metal brush. But anyway, this feels really good. And what this is, if you're allergic to wool, think about Filane. I hope I didn't say Filane. 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 It's the name of this thread. And to even order it from the manufacturer, I had to have a minimum of $25, which that's not hard for Deb. And I went to a different site, found a really good deal, but you had to have a tax ID number and stuff. They wanted to make sure you were a reseller, and I'm not. I'm using it for personal consumption. But this has the softest feel to it. So now let me tell you what this is for some of you who might not have heard me talking about this last week. And I'll show you all my pretty colors. Now, this is an acrylic thread, and it's very fuzzy, very, very. Doesn't look like it that much here, maybe, but you use it for thread painting if you want a furry look. And let me see. So I've got black. I got a pure white because I'm going to work on my tiger again. Black and pure white. And then I got a creamy because even the white parts of the tiger, depending on shadow and light, can look creamy. And then I got 3 different spools of the orangey gold to put in him. So I think each of these, I'm trying to remember what I paid for each of these. I think like $6 or $7 a spool, which is not bad. And so I got these, and the thing I hated paying was the $17 shipping. But you got to do what you got to do. I started not to get it, but then I said, wait a minute, I get so much more because this is like 1,000 yards. It's a much bigger, 1,000 meters. And you get more than when you buy them from the Sulky brand. And Sulky brand comes in a small spool like that. And I know I'm going to use a lot of this. So you thread paint. Let's say you're doing that tiger. I thread paint in straight lines to look like, to kind of mimic the direction of the fur. And then when I'm all done with the sewing, I take a metal brush, like a toothbrush-sized metal brush, and I gently brush these stitches. And it does what they call blooming. And it means it picks up some of the fuzzy threads and fluffs them out. And it's amazing. So it's called Filane thread. And oh, I'm so glad you made it through the freeze, Diane. Mark and I have been so upset at those poor people. But anyway, my order came in. I'm very happy with it. And very, very, very happy with that. And I had something else that came in. I hadn't shown you, but, and a dear Our dear Cheryl with a C sent me this wonderful package wrapping. It's plastic, and she was wondering if I could use it for my beads. I can't really use it for beads because it is slick plastic, and that just doesn't want to catch the glue well. But I think I can use it for one of the journals. It is so pretty, and I'm so touched that she didn't want to waste it. See, on the back, it's just black plastic. But isn't that sweet? So thank you. And it came on the day I had my test. I thought, that just made me feel so good. So in one of our orders that we had to put in, one of the orders we had to put in at Amazon, I found a good deal, $13 and something. I got 3 packs of this. I noticed after I ordered it, it's now 15 something. So you got to watch them. They think, oh, you want to come back and get more here. It's going to be more. But these are 5 packages of Steamosine 2, which Steamosine 2 I'm going to use when I do the confetti work. So I'll show you how to do that. Because I also have some powder, fusible powder, but not everybody has it. And it tends to be a little pricey. So anyway. But I got this because I figured out how to use this. So I got 3 packs of that for 13 something, which is pretty good. Because I go through this stuff. Oh my goodness, with art quilting, I go through it. You might say, well, why use Steamosine 2? Because I can position things. It's got paper on both sides of the fusible. So you can iron it onto your applique and then peel off the paper, and then it's sticky. And so that way you can kind of put it and go, yep, no, you can move it around. And I just find it's just really fun and easy to use. So I got that in. The other day, I was changing calendars. Okay, this was last year's. And really the only thing we do is put the dog's heartworm medicine on the calendar. But I wanted another calendar. So we got a new calendar in, and I noticed it was like 2 inches too wide for where we hang it. So I started trimming it. And then I noticed the old calendar had really pretty botanical edges. And you know me, I'm like, oh, paper beads. So I took my paper cutter and I cut off all the edges around these pages. But then I noticed that the back is pure white, really nice white. And the weight is just right. It's thinner than cardstock, but heavier than your regular copy paper. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take my watercolors and my markers and maybe a little bit of crayon, and I'm going to make really colorful designs. The others I cut up, and then I went, oh, maybe I should have colored on the paper before I already cut it into bead strips. So I wanted just to show you that. You can find great materials for beads. I haven't bought anything to make beads except glue and the triple thick. I haven't bought anything but those 2 things in like 3 years to make my beads. So then, okay, I was looking through. I'm trying to remember where. It was somewhere online. I found the most gorgeous quilt. And I am really, 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 really a art quilter at heart. But sometimes a traditional quilt will catch my eye. And when I get that special, oh, I know I have to make it. Well, this is what I saw online. I saw this quilt, and that caught my heart. A GNC. That caught my heart. I love the Greek key design. I love the colors in this. The juxtaposition between the Mediterranean blue batiks and that wonderful sandy golden brown. I just was hooked. So I said, where can I find that quilt? because I know that I can't figure out how to do that. I'm going to need a pattern to be able to do this. So I looked around and found that Judy Martin designed it. And it's in her book, Stellar Quilts by Judy Martin. Now, there are plenty amazing quilts in this book, but that's the one that I went, whoa. So I went online right away, went to Amazon, and look at this, Kyoto Gardens. I mean, there are so many gorgeous quilts in this book. And this book, I think, retailed at $27 or something dollars. Well, Deb, and I am having to pay my medical bills from my surgery in September, and I'm still paying. They're still coming in. So I thought, 27, I just can't spend that much right now. So I went on eBay. When I can't afford the price from Barnes & Noble or Amazon, I go on eBay because I don't mind buying used books at all. That doesn't bother me a bit. So I typed in Stellar Quilts, Judy Martin, and one day, and I had it put on, email me if you find this book. And sure enough, there was a Goodwill, I think, some kind, it was for charity. And they were selling this. And it was like $16 in free shipping. And I said, that's my price. So now this will have to go in my pile of, you better finish a couple things first before you even think about it. But when I do, I'll share all of what I'm doing with this with y'all. So this might have to be a book that you've heard of the story of the traveling pants. This might have to be a traveling book with our group. So I think that there's a lot people can find in here they would enjoy. So I got that in. And I already told you I got my bottles of glue. So what this pile right here, this is my pile of fabrics, the first ones I've chosen for the quilt class that I'm taking on the 26th. She wanted us to have tacky glue and some scissors. I've got a pencil in here. And this is going to be a cowl done with bright, fanciful fabrics. So I went into my stash and I started looking because it's going to be a collage cowl. And I wanted to find exciting fabrics because I really love it. Like, remember when I showed you Betty Middleton? I'll show you again today. Her lion. And then I even got an Asian-inspired fabric. And I got some polka dots. And just all kinds, because you only need a little bit. And this was from a sampler. I was a salesman sample I was given. But I thought this would be cool. It's got all kinds of just small pieces of bright fabrics. I even picked one of my ocean landscape fabrics. So I thought, let's get in there and enjoy this because this is a stretch for me. Doing a cowl out of fabrics that aren't physically possible in the real world is going to, and that's why I'm taking the class. I like taking classes that stretch me out of my comfort zone. So this is going to be a very bright cowl. So I started getting that ready because it's going to be an all-day class, and it's going to be an all-day class, and I have to be ready. There's no, the class starts and then I'll run around and grab stuff. No, It's going to be hit the ground running. You got stuff to do right now. Oh, and then there was just one other thing, and I got this in a couple weeks ago, but then I stuck it to the side and forgot about it. I get emails from Missouri Star Quilts, Bear Creek Quilting, Jordan Fabrics, and Hancock's of Paducah. And so, this is so sweet. They even sent a free pattern postcard. And I saw this fabric, and it was on sale. It was, let me see, it was $8.99 for the panel, and then I had to pay $4 shipping. And I thought, okay, that's reasonable. And I'm going to show you. Normally, I don't do a lot with panels, but every once in a while, I see a panel that speaks to me, and I learn that if it speaks to me, grab it. And I remember I used to work in a museum. I did the costumes, and it was all based in the 17th century, from like 1634 to 1686. And so I had to learn a lot about the art and living during that time. And I've got a special little place still. You know, I did their costumes for 8 years. And then I got double pneumonia and said, this job's killing me. I got to be done. But I still have special memories. So look at this beautiful. It is a copy of a 17th century still life. And I saw this and thought, I have to have it. Now, I know it's 17th century because the tulip trade was all the rage during the early 17th century. Fortunes were won and lost based on little tulip bulbs. And so if you'll notice, those are the stylized tulips of the 17th century. And when you see a tulip that doesn't have a solid color, it's got like stripes or streaks in it, that is a virus that gets in the tulip bulb that causes what's known as a break in the color. They went so wild over tulips that had those breaks in them that like a whole chateau would be waged on that one tulip bulb. So, unfortunately, the more people that raised tulips, the market crashed. But for a while, I mean, you could become what nowadays we call a millionaire based on just the right tulip bulb. So anyway, but I wanted that. Now, what this is going to end up being is I'm going to really enjoy putting this on the frame and long arm quilting it. And then I'm going to embellish it. And it's just going to be a special little thing for me that I work on and do some special thread painting, some special embellishing, and then I will put a border on it and hang it like a work of art. So it's not my typical, I'm not creating it myself, but I'm going to have my hands full doing the thread painting and embellishing on this. And I thought it was pretty. I said, Mark, he said, get it. He knows that when I see something that, okay. Who painted it? You know what? Let me see if I don't, it's called Covent Garden. Now these were done by like Renoir, your Dutch artists, the Dutch masters. So I wish it said, I do wish it said, but if you look up Covent Garden, and I'll show you the maker of the panel. but it would have been painted. I'll have to try to figure out who it was, but it would have been one of the Dutch masters who painted it. And I think it's beautiful. So, and it kind of reminds me of my glory days when by myself, part-time pay, made clothing, historically accurate clothing for 26 people. And whoa, was it a wild ride. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not very good at accuracy quilting, because I learned that I had to just sew this stuff, put the pedal to the metal and get that clothing sold, get it on a body. And I used to do the dyeing. Everything was made from linen or wool. I did the dyeing myself. Anything that showed that you could see on the outside had to be done by hand. That's part of what earned me my carpal tunnel syndrome that I had repaired about 10 years ago, because there was a suit I made. It was based on a 1686 man's suit, had 86 hand-done buttonholes on linen canvas weight linen. So it kind of did a number on my hand, but I loved it. I loved it. All right, so I've got all of that. And honestly, I have to admit, I didn't get very far on my new quilt. I didn't get very far on my new quilt book, but I did bring some unfinished quilt projects to show you, because I had fun. I had such fun. I had such fun when I showed you my UFOs. It's kind of like giving you a little bit of a craft house tour. So I'm going to show you more today. So how is everyone? Everybody good? Oh, thank you, Inger. I just love that we have Inger here, and she's from Norway. And then we've got Nadine from Germany, and all these places I would love to visit. So one day, maybe. We've got Bee from England. She usually catches us on replay. And we have a new woman, Maud, from France. So that's exciting. Robin Boyd is here. Oh, I hope nobody else snuck in when I didn't see. And Cheryl Lemon is here. So, all right, let me show you what I've got. And Mark came down in the studio today, the sweetheart he is, and he installed this light in a better place so that I could have better lighting without it going dim, because but where it was placed before, it would affect the camera's autofocus, and it would just darken down so much that then I'd have to turn the light off and then try to turn it back on. He also lowered the camera. So now instead of staring at the ceiling, I think you get a better view. So Sue Smith has been quietly watching. Oh, hi, Sue, hon. So let me show you what I've got. All right. I ended up cutting 2 pieces by width of fabric of, I guess you would say, 10 fabrics. And what I have done is I'm going to make a Bargello. I'm going to make a Bargello table runner. And one thing I did is I chose my colors carefully, and I wanted to have a very strong accent color. But here are all of my fabrics that I chose. I cut them, instead of cutting them 2.5 inches, I want this to be a small table runner. And so I cut my strips 1.5 inches by width of fabric. And so I cut 2 strips each, and these I've already sewn together. These I worked out what order to put them in, and then I clipped them so I know when I take this to the sewing machine that they'll be in the right order. And the black starts here and everything else goes that way. So that helps keep me organized. Also, to tell you, make sure that you starch and well iron your fabric, and preferably before you cut it, because you want to make sure you get nice straight cuts. You don't want any elbows. And since these seams all have to be accurate, having them starched will help accurate piecing. So before I get to, I've got great news. Bargello quilting is really very simple, but to make it even better, Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics, I looked online because I had a feeling she had done one. She had the perfect pattern for, let me show it to you, perfect free pattern for this table runner Bargello. She's got a free perfect pattern for big Bargello if you wanted one. But I'm going to give you the address and you can print out your own free copy of the directions and the pattern. And extra good news, she has a YouTube video for it. So let me see if I can cut and paste yes, it worked. Okay, so there it is. Okay, then and if you find her YouTube video and it's for our Bargello table runner, not the ombre, but the regular table runner, then if you scroll down in her notes, it shows where to go to get the free pattern. But let me see. I think I had, let me see. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to copy this link to the pattern itself to make it as easy for you as I can. And please, when you're watching her video, put something kind in the comments section, because how lovely that not only does she write this pattern and work it out for you, she makes a video where she takes you step by step through it. So I think people are just so generous with their time. And you might find some gorgeous fabric from her shop while you're there. Don't forget, her husband does the cuts by hand. He has a special electric fabric cutter, and he does all of their jelly rolls and stuff without the jagged edges. So a lot of people like that. And less lint. You get the whole full 2.5 instead of part of it being zigzag. So while you're there, look around and see what they've got, but let her know you appreciate all that she does to make our hobby a lot easier. So, okay, that now you've got that, because I wanted you to be able to do this too. And luckily, this took me 3 inches. I'm doing mine 1.5 inches instead of 2.5, because I want it to be a little smaller, a little more manageable, you might say. All right. So now what I have done, and I'll show you this in a moment, I've already sewn all my strips together. And then once I sewed them together, I folded it right sides together, stitched each long side of the edge, and made it into a tube. And that's what makes this so easy. And I'm going to go a step further in making it easy than she even did. And this is going to be a quilt as you go. So those of you who think you can't quilt, those of you who don't want to send something out to a quilter, you'll be quilting this yourself in the process of sewing it. So we probably won't get this all done today. We'll probably have to go into next week. But I think you will like it. All right, let me press my fabrics. It looks like she will teach you how to be very careful. It looks like I might have stretched some of my fabric just a little. And so I'm going to have to kind of force it back into behavior. But let me see what I can do because I notice it's a little twisty. And in fact, the one thing she told me is make sure it was absolutely straight before you sewed it into a tube. But I was in such a hurry. She wants you to make sure you've got it near the edge. Put it somewhere where you can put rulers and make sure it's all lined up. If not, that's the time to fix it before you press it with a steam iron. And that way you can get it to behave. So I was in a hurry. So watch her YouTube video when you make yours. Because she's so good. She takes you step by step through it, and she warns you about getting it a little wonky. Because it's easy when you're sewing long strips. In fact, one of the things I was taught to, when you sew long strips together, take turns starting at each end. So like if you put two pieces together this end, then when you put the third piece on, start it at the other end. And if you do that, that will help prevent it from going wonky. So what I'm going to do, I've got to press this really quickly to get my iron hot. And I'm going to show you just how easy it is to do this. All right. Come along and press what I'm doing right now. Come along and press this edge first. And then after I press this edge, I will try to straighten out this strip. Because what I'm doing is sewing it in half. I sewed it to make a tube, and now I'm trying to press it in half. But I can see right now that my fabric kind of turned. I may have to do it. Wow, did it turn? How in the world? So I may have to do it again. Let me see what I can do. But I tried, I was doing this right up until when I got on camera, so I was in a big hurry. Let me do something here. I don't want to get you confused, so let me just show you a couple things, okay? All right. Did you get the link? Oh, it's on my own computer. I'm sorry. Oh, gosh. Can you get to her YouTube? If you can get to her YouTube video, then if you look down in the information area below the screen, you'll see how to get the free. You're right. I totally forgot that that's once I've downloaded it and it's on my computer. So let me now show you this real quick. And if she can find it, thank you, Miss Diane. Thank goodness for moderators, huh? So now I'm going to bring you down here. All right. So now I've got all of these. See how I have these put together so I know I won't get them confused. Now you can do the 2.5 inch that she did or the 1.5 inch like I did. I pick up the first two and I put the rest aside. I don't want to mix them up. And the black one is always going to be on the right. So I put this fabric this way. And you know what I'm going to do? I've got the selvages still on here, so I'm going to trim those off. I don't want to use any selvages in this. So I come over, I've got my 1/4 inch foot. Let me see. I've got my 1/4 inch foot. Whoops. Let me see how I can make sure I can get this. Huh. Well, Okay. All right. I got my 1/4 inch foot on, and I've lowered my stitch length from normally a 2.4 to a 1.8. Now, you don't have to go that small, but you do want to lower your stitch length because once you cut all these strips apart, they're going to be a little vulnerable, okay? So here we go. I'm coming in here and I'm using that 1/4 inch foot and trying to be very careful because every bit. Now, what she told me not to do, which I must have done, is do not pull these independent, because if you stretch them, then your tube will curl like mine did. So just lay them there, lay them against each other, and then push them through as one unit. The other thing I noticed that I want you to be careful of is not to, let me see, I want to make sure, hold on just a second, I'm trying to loosen this. One thing I want to make sure that you don't do is do not swerve at the end. Get a bamboo skewer or a stiletto and have it handy, and I will show you how to use that. I don't like using a metal stiletto because I'm always afraid if the needle hits it, it's going to damage something. So I put it together, I push them through, kind of guide them gently through together so that I don't stretch them. Don't put it up on your shoulder and have it kind of drag on your shirt and stretch. So them very carefully together. And when I get all the way to the end, I want to show you how to prevent it from scooching over as it comes out of the machine. All right. And this has the selvage on this end, so I'm going to trim that off. But now is when I pick up my bamboo skewer. And if that needle were to hit this skewer, it's going to be a lot more forgiving than a piece of metal. Now here already my fabrics have kind of scooched away from each other, so I'm going to stack them back up and put my skewer down and hold it as they go through. This way you can get much closer to the needle than you would with your finger. See that? And I just helped keep it going straight through the machine. Now, there's another thing to remember. She uses finger pressing so she doesn't have to go over to the ironing board, and she just runs her fingernail or her finger across just to make it easy to remember. So one thing that is important about this, because I'm going to go ahead and iron it over on my ironing board, one thing to remember is every seam is going to go the opposite way. Because once you cut these into strips and you try to piece them together, you want them to nestle. And make sure when you're ironing these that you are ironing them as straight as possible. Keep them very straight on your ironing surface. Because if you iron them at an angle, then you will definitely get that pull. Okay? So now this has been pressed, and the seam is pressed towards the dark. No matter what the next piece is going to be, I am going to press the seam that way and that way, because this seam is this way. So going every other one. Now, whoops. Don't Gotta keep your order here. All right, make sure they stay in the same order. Now, so my next one is going to be this one. A nice Jenny Beyer. Love Jenny Beyer. All right. And when I'm doing this, remember the black, what you pick, whatever that color is, that's going to stay on the right. And this fabric, it's got a selvage, so let me trim that off. I wish I had trimmed them off before I cut them to make it easier. And you put this on this, sew it to this side, not that. Now, remember what I told you about doing it, sewing it up from the other end? Let's go ahead and do that. Cut this selvage off. All right. So now I'm sewing from the other end. And this is going to help to keep the fabrics from turning and twisting. Because it does put pressure on, when you sew it in a certain direction, it does put pressure on that. All right. And you have it just puddled here. Don't have it on your shoulder. The dragging of the fabric coming across your shirt will help stretch it. You just don't want to stretch it. You just have it puddled. You put the pieces together, and then you easily keep them even. Go on through. It's important that you cut the fabrics carefully. It's important that you sew with the part and put them back together. You don't want to have crushing. So every step with this, that's why I say start your fabric, iron it good, and then if you take care in these steps, then it'll be so much easier to put together. All right, so I'm going to finish showing you sewing this strip, and then next week we will come back and do the next part. And not all of my width of fabrics are the same. I think that's one of the reasons I sewed my other strips. I think it's one of the reasons I sewed my other strips all starting at the same end, even though I wasn't supposed to, because I didn't want to have both ends uneven. And by turning them around each time, you'll have them uneven. Now, let me show you one thing really quickly on this. All right, I press this seam going towards the black, so this seam will go towards this color. Even though it's not as dark as the other color, that doesn't matter because you have to alternate them each time you sew a strip. It has to go the opposite way, and that way when you cut, it will make sense because then you'll nest them. All right, so now I think let's take a break from this. We'll do the rest next week, okay? And that'll give you time to download the pattern and to cut your fabrics, and we can do it together if you would like. It's a great stash buster because you only need 2 strips by width of fabric of about 9 or 10 fabrics, okay? So I'll put this aside, and next week we'll pick this back up. All right. Next week we'll finish it because I'll make sure I have that next strip fully sewn, and then I'll show you how to cut it. And then the trick comes in, how you quilt as you go. So by the time you finish sewing the strips together, all you have to do is put a binding on, you're done. So to me, that's the best part. It is instant gratification. So, okay. And if you don't have a fancy pin to hold the strips together, then just pin them with a safety pin, something that will hold them so you know the right order. Because otherwise, it'll drive you crazy if you drop that pile of strips and then you got to figure it all out over again. So that's not a problem. All right, now let's look at some more UFOs. Now remember, just about everything is a UFO. So in that booklet, I need to put this. This is a quilt. The blocks were given to me by the guild that I ran for 9 years. And they're signature autograph blocks or signature blocks. I'm sure you've heard of them. And so they were told, the group was told, this is a traditional kind of thank you that groups have done. But they were told what colors to choose from, what pattern, Friendship Star autograph block, and it's called autograph because in the middle you always put a space for someone to sign their name. My nose itches, I don't know why. And so here this is. And it's lovely. And when they gave it to me, I quickly put them together. And I used, the fabric I used was a fun fabric. I think you'll remember seeing this fabric. And it's a fabric, and here is the friendship block. And so I knew I had this fabric. I knew what to do with it. And so I put it all together. And then I even quilted it. And I did some cute little flowers along the border. I did, just had fun with it. It really made me happy. It was a sweet quilt. Then I put the binding on, and that's where it stopped. And it's probably been 4 years now. And I just noticed when I picked it up, it still has the actual needle in it. Hold on. Somewhere here, it has the actual needle right here. Has the actual needle that I was using to do the binding. See the thread too? There's the needle and the thread. So this goes on a UFO because the nice thing about this is it doesn't take much to get it done, and then I can check something off. Yay! But this is an unfinished object because until it's done, it's not done. Now, this one is technically an unfinished object. You've seen this one before. The reason that this is an unfinished object is everywhere you see a safety pin, see that safety pin? I use safety pins when I do the long arm quilting. And if I notice a mistake like this, I must have had to take out wayward stitching. There's a little line of stitching right here, and I took it out between here and here. So it must have been wavy, and I didn't like it. And then I put a pin there, and it tells me, go back, there's something you need to do over. And this is a UFO until I get all these pins. I have quilts. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I have quilts that, hi, Alberta Conte. In fact, yep, she was from Southern Maryland. Hi. Oh, in fact, you know what, Alberta? I've seen your name a couple times. If you would like to join our group, we have a groups.io, which is like the old kind of Yahoo groups, but Yahoo's gone. The Yahoo groups are anyway. So our time to quilt at twc.com. If you want to send me an email to that address, I'll invite you to join our group. Yesterday, the group had a sit and sew on Jitsi, which is kind of like a Zoom. We share patterns. We share pictures. In fact, Susie can tell you a little bit. And Inger's a member of the group. Jeannie is one of our new members. So it's you can join our group and have more fun, not just Sundays. But anyway, so if here's another, I saw another safety pin. So this will go on the UFO list. All right. So let me put these, and then this will go. It is the Grinch quilt, my Christmas Grinch flimsy, which means it's just the top. And what I have to finish on this, I have to machine edge these appliques and then quilt it and bind it. So that's going to go on the list. Now, I've got more unfinished quilts than finished. I do believe. I went and looked in my closet and said, I know I've got unfinished quilts in here. Aha. Oh my gosh. This is a quilt group. Oh, yes. Diane 57. It's March 20th. And it's like an all-day sit and sew. They had a blast yesterday. Unfortunately, I had to groom a dog, and I had to clean the house. I had so much to do. But come here, Blossom. Blossom, come here. Come here. Here is my Blossom, and I had to groom her yesterday. She's shy about being held. Blossom, say hello. But she will not let me use a shaver on her, so I have to use scissors, great big old scissors. And so I had to do that yesterday. But she has itchy skin, and it's so hard trying to keep her skin calmed down. But that's why I couldn't join. I just was too far behind. But I'm going to show you something neat. I'm glad I found this. It's a technique that I actually invented, I guess. But it's where, when I make quilt blocks, I stand over them and take photos of all the blocks. And you have to really get up on a footstool and lean down because you want them to be photographed as straight on as you can. Now, you don't have to do them all, I guess, at the same time. Just do a group you can lean over enough. And you can see that I was working on color diagrams. It's kind of like a diary in a way. But I took what I did. These are, you can see my grid paper that I printed out. What I do is I print the photos out on cardstock if you have it. If not, do regular paper. And when you print them out, then you cut them apart, and then they act like puzzle pieces. And you can take and move all of those pieces around, trying to find the best layout. It's much easier than trying to hang them all on a design wall or put them all on the floor and try to work out what in the world however you're going to do it. So here's another one that I did, and see there, and then I can put them in an order. And because when you have different color blocks, it's kind of tricky. All right. In fact, here is one of the pictures of the block I had done. And as you can see, I guess I got hung up on trying to arrange them in an order because all I have are the blocks. But they're really pretty. I need to get them done. They had the most beautiful metallic edged grape fabric, and I used some gorgeous Jenny Beyer and just beautiful, beautiful fabric. I need to get this done. It is way too pretty to be stuck in a plastic bag for over 10 years. I worked on this at my last house. I've been in this house 11 years. This is a long time. It's been sitting. Hi, Michelle. Michelle knows me too. She knows me. But this is ridiculous. So this will definitely go on the UFO list. And let's get it done, Deb. So let me move all of this over. And then I've got another one to show you. I told you, see, I tell you my mistakes. Because if I tell you my mistakes, maybe you don't have to make them. Or if you do make them, you won't feel so bad. This is a quilt I started for my daughter 15 years ago. And let me see. It's funny to look back over these because I thought this was a hard block to do. And now I look back and think, oh my God, that's so cute. But I've got the rows. I just need to put the rows together. Come on, Deb. And this was a gingham quilt, and it's just cute as it can be, but get it done. So, I mean, isn't that sweet? But I know this was years ago. My kids know I love them, thank God, because I show them, I'm going to make you this quilt. They hardly ever get them. So I'm going to change that. That's going to be my new thing to do. But these are sweet little blocks. So I better get that done. And let me see. Oh, I designed this myself. Well, isn't that cool? Let me see which version of EQ I designed it in. I can't tell. Oh my gosh. I started this longer than 16 years ago. I have the notes from a guild I belonged to in Maryland. I moved here 16 years ago. So, and here is the EQ. I wish it said what EQ. It's got to be EQ 5 or 6. So, my, Deb. Shame on me. I tell you what, if I get these done, my kids are just going to be amazed. And this was an old template. I did it by templates. But this must have been one of the first quilts I designed on EQ. So how cute is that? Oh boy. But I'm going to get this done. This is what I'm trying to tell you, that I think I've finally just come to the realization that these things are too special to be left in plastic bags. So, hi, Deborah Donnell. You're just on time. So, there. Now, all I have to do to find some more is open a drawer. Let me see. Oh, I might not have. Do I? Oh, my goodness gracious. This is my drawer that I keep all of my Ziploc bags and stuff. Let's see what's in here. Do y'all remember a website called Eric Homemade? That's an ancient. Oh, my goodness. Look at all of these. Oh, my goodness. Look. Oh, my goodness gracious. Let me see. There is more in here than I even knew. And I've got plenty of other, oh my goodness. Here's a 2013 Sewingly Yours block of the month. I've got to finish this. This is K Facet fabric. And see, every week I'm going to show you some of these things because, oh, I remember this was a floral. So there's all different kinds of flowers. Some are paper pieced. Let me move this back here. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to give you a headache there. Here is a flower. And you know, part of the problem is me. I used to do some of these things like if they offered 2 fabric ways, I would do both. That's a violet. Let's see. So, and you know, every time, this was a paper piece, and every time I did these, I would learn something. So that part is good. But I want to get this finished because it's just lovely and shouldn't be in a plastic bag. Okay. I'm even showing you what's in my drawer. Okay. Oh, I need to organize my plastic bags. Here is another block of the month that I was working on. I love doing blocks of the month, but I never ever finish them. A lot of times I would not even finish the last class because we didn't have to go back in. Boy, if I just made all these, I'd have a lot more pens. I got pens and all this stuff. Oh, it's like a house. Here's a house block. Let's see. So these were all kinds of blocks, like a sampler. Neat. And you know, you would pay like $5 or $10 to join it. And then you would put some of your own fabric in, and every month you went with a finished block, they would give you the next month's thing to work on. Okay, let's see. And this one's a sweet little one. And you know, so this means most of these are 11/12 of the way done. But look at these little sweet blocks. Look at this. I love these colors. They're so delicate. Look at this. So, oh wow. They're lovely. So there are plenty of blocks here to make a quilt. I need to get them made. All right. So that is just lovely. And you know, I know Michelle recognizes some of this because we used to do the block of the months together. And it was so much fun. That's how we made sure, or I made sure that I got mine done, is she would come over and say, Deb, we're doing it. Let's do it. So she knows how distractible I am. Aren't they sweet? All right, let me put this back in here. Come on. Doesn't want to go in the bag, right? Okay. This, I was telling you, I haven't seen this guy online in forever, but Eric Homemade, and he would do these block of the months, and I would start them with the best of intentions, and I would get this far. And this one was a Benjamin Franklin, which I love Benjamin Franklin, so I put some really interesting colors in it, and I definitely want to finish this one. So, isn't that neat? I love these colors, and they still hold up. Now, I can tell you when this was that I was working on this, because it should have a date on it. 2012. So in 2012, I was working on this. And luckily, I kept it all in a bag, so I've got all the fabric still, so I can finish this. And I will definitely be working on that. All right. That is just too cute. All right. And look at all this paper. I've got all the tips and the blocks printed. I need to get that finished too. Now, if I go a drawer further down, and I've got more in these other drawers, but we're not going to go through all of them today. But let's pull a couple of these out. Oh, that's a pretty fabric. See, I've even got fabric in here. Oh my goodness. What is this? Okay. This is kind of fun. It's kind of like an Easter egg hunt, but with quilts. Oh my gosh. I wonder how long ago I did this. This is too funny. I took pre-printed Christmas fabric and cut out the centers. Oh my goodness. And then sewed borders on them. Oh, that is so cute. So normally I don't do pre-printed, but in this case, I probably thought it was a fast way to get a quilt done. Fast? But that is so cute. So, okay. Let me put that back in this little bag. Oh my goodness gracious. So when I'm the good news about all of this, I pull out all this stuff and then I'm going to record it on the pages. And then I'm going to decide what things I want to finish and what things I would like to pass on. And then we're going to have a day. Maybe by next week, I'll have some projects I'm ready. And then you can win them because I'll find a project and say, would anybody here be interested in winning this? Then we'll make a list of the names and then I'll draw from the list and I will mail it to you. Okay, so, it looks like I got a bunch of strips done for this. This is a Raise the Roof 2011. Raise the Roof 2011. And, oh my gosh. It's cute to even see my handwriting and everything on it. But let's see what I've gotten done on this. Finishing the quilt top, Raise the Roof. This is so cute. This is so cute. All right, let me back this up so you can see better. Oh, man. A lot of things pre-cut. Flying geese already made, ready to finish. This must have been my one shot at making a Civil War era quilt. Isn't that pretty? So, oh, look. I've got some log cabin blocks. So, okay. I still have a good amount to work on here. But I've done so many of the component. There's dark flying geese, then half square. Actually, these are quarter square triangles. See, they have 4 different fabrics on them. So, this is really cool. And, I need to finish it. So, anyway, well, this is enough for today. But I'm going to keep showing you because I've got even more in these drawers. And so next week, I'll pull out some more. But this way, at least I'm getting... That is a really pretty quilt. Stars and log cabins. Very pretty. And I spent money on this. Shouldn't just be sitting in a drawer. It's so funny. I never thought I was going to be one to really be pushing on the UFOs, but now I realize, it's time to get them finished. But Already I've got my eye on a couple things I might not want to finish. And this. Okay. I can see why I didn't finish this one. I can see why. This is confusing. There's a lot going on in these. Oh my goodness gracious. There's a lot going on here. I'm pretty sure this will be in the pass along file. Pass along area, because I can tell you right now, this kind of busyness overwhelms me. So it needs to go to a home where they would give it the time and attention it needs. I don't even remember working on this. I honestly don't. I don't even remember working on this. So this will go in the pile of, would somebody like to give this poor baby a home? And I will send you everything that I have on it so that it can be finished as it was intended. Okay? Now, whoops, gotta put that back with it. This, oh my goodness. What in the world? This must have been another, I do kind of remember these fabrics. I ended up getting a lot of them from Hobby Lobby, I think. So, years and years and years ago. I'm looking for the paperwork on it. I don't see the paperwork on it, but it's got all the fabric with it. So, I'm thinking off the top of my head that this one's going to probably be put on the pass along, in the pass along file. So, as I mention them, I'll let you know again, and we'll make a list of anybody that's interested in the pass it along, and then that's what we'll do. Because honestly, if it's here, I feel like I've got to finish it. But some of them just don't do it for me anymore, or they look a little complicated. Now I'm into art quilts, so I'll go back to these old-fashioned ones, and I'm like, well, back when I was a traditional quilter, I loved them. But that was time before now. So anyway, but I will make sure that I let you know, and then I'll let you know, and we'll write a list, and then we'll have a drawing for them. Okay, so now let's go look at pictures that you sent me. Let's see the good things you were able to get finished. All right, here we go. Push this over. And I haven't done any more work on the OSB. I apologize. And, I haven't been able to figure it out. And I've been a little busy, little distracted. So, let me come here to y'all's photos. Can someone let me know if you can still hear and see, if you can see this screen, if you can see my hand? Whoa, that's cool. Woo! Somebody just say yes, if you can still hear me and see me. Or see the screen and you can still hear it. Oh, thank you, Jamie. Okay. All right, here we go. And Jamie, I'm so sorry about your rental house bursting a pipe and you had to run, go do that. And oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. All right, here we go. Miss B, I tried to figure out how I could make the pictures be large and stay large. Whoa. Uh-oh. Let me tighten that. Uh, hmm. Oh, I think it's maybe this one. Okay. Let me see. I've got to make this large. Okay. Miss B's been working on this, and I love it. And they were talking. Oops. Let me see. I got to figure out what's supposed to tighten this. They were talking about what kind of things can you copy, can you use for your resources, and all of that. Um, and copyright laws can be kind of tricky. And I thought I would come on here and talk to you about it. Um, Everything old is new again. And what I mean by that, and this is absolutely gorgeous. She is amazing. She's a hand embroiderer who's now turned into a quilter too, an art quilter. And her eye is superb. The way that she has the area lighter right around the moon, the way she has it shining across the water is superb. And the way that she's got the sparkle on the water from the moonshine is superb. The way that she has this, you can just picture years and years of erosion coming down that hill. So it's absolutely wonderful, Miss B. I'm just very touched, and I want to know how she did the frothy waves in that. So I'll have to write her and find out. And then now, one of the things that she's enjoyed doing during COVID, she's in England and they're having their problems too, is she makes people homemade. What in the world have I done with this? Somehow I've gotten this a little off. Oops. Somehow something's too loose. But, okay. But she has taken to making cards for people, making cards out of fabrics and stitching. And I mean, look at her stitching of the flowers here. It's lovely. So somebody must have a new home, and she made the card for them. So I just love that. Thank you, Miss B. And here now, when I was talking earlier about doing a cow with a bright collage treatment, this is what I meant. And this is what Betty, not B, Betty shared this with me, and I just love it. Love, love, love it. So that's where I thought, pick some bright, happy fabrics. And I love how it looks like she took silk leaves and put a crown on this lion. Isn't that wonderful? So thank you, Miss Betty Middleton. We love that. Very talented. And looking at these photos, you inspire me, people. I get the best ideas from you. Now, this is Miss Bonnie's work, and remember we were talking about quilt testing, and this is one of the patterns that she tested for Quilt Pattern Online Magazine. And she said something about don't look too close at her stitching, because it was by hand. I found her stitching to be wonderful, very even, very regular. So way to go, Miss Bonnie. I thought it was very, very nice. Very pretty, and she's already hand stitched she hand stitched the quilting. So it's just hand quilted it. But here is some of her snow down in Arkansas. And remember, she moved from Illinois to get away from snow. But what can you do? And here's the fabric she had laid out to do their stitching fest yesterday. And their farmer's wife. But you can come and sew on any project you want. It's just a chance to sew together and have fun. And March 20th is our next one. And if you're a member of our group, you are invited. Let me see something. Oh. All right. Whoops. I don't. Oh. Let me see. Oh, okay. It's twisting from there. Oh, I don't know if I can fix that or not. Well, I'll have to call Mark when I'm done and say, Mark, I have a problem. I kind of wrenched the camera a little too hard. And here is the full-size version of her bamboo. And I think it's so pretty, so elegant. The way to go. Y'all did a great job. All right, let me bring that down so I can get to my next one. And I just couldn't delete this one out because this is how Bonnie keeps her floss. Every one of them recorded, wound on a special card. I mean, amazing. I keep mine in a plastic bag jumbled, So one day. Okay, that must be the last. No, it can't be the last Miss Bonnie sent. I guess it is. Oh, and well, let me see what this one is. She showed us, she hung some new quilts in her house because she loves to change them out. And let me see. And so,
okay, let's change out the wall.
Yep, change out the wall hangings because they really do become your decor. Isn't that lovely? So way to go, Miss Bonnie. I love that. And then that way you can really enjoy. Oops, hold on. Now let's see where we're going now. We're going down to Cheryl Lemon, and I just couldn't bear to delete this one. I thought her work was superb, and it's just lovely. So way to go, Miss Cheryl. Okay. Now who are we going to go to? I don't think I have that many. Oh, yeah, the other day. Now, I feel terrible even bothering to show this because my little ice storm was absolutely nothing compared to Texas. We were without power a couple of hours, but that's nothing compared to Texas. But it did make for some really pretty photos. That's my chicken house and the heavy, heavy evergreen laying on top. Nothing broke, and it was just beautiful. But we were lucky that it melted later that day. And that's the little silt pond across the street. Here's a picture of my Russell with his favorite pout fish. I got him a book and a toy from that series, and he loves it. I'm so happy. Here's another picture of the ice storm. I want snow, though. I still want snow. And that's a little pond across the street. And then here is my newest grandchild. And you know what? I don't know what his name is yet. I'm not sure they know. But this is Buford, her 10-year-old dog, and there's the new puppy. And he is just as cute as can be. There's the son, my grandson Devin, petting him. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? He's laying on his daddy's lap. It was a long day. Okay, I think that might be it for me. Yep, that's it for me. So now let's go back. Deborah Donnell. I wanted to keep this in there because I'll be doing the cow collage, and I wanted to show her wonderful kitty collage. I love it. Okay. Now, it gives me inspiration. Dolores, I had a lot in here from her. I'm down to a sweet little crocus covered in ice. But the good thing about crocuses, they can handle it. But isn't that sweet? Okay. There's a reason they're one of the first flowers that come out to bloom. Diana Wright, her beautiful star. Okay. Look at this. More borders on it. Beautiful. Love the background. And remember, she lives in Texas. Look at this snow and ice in Texas. Goodness gracious. But I do feel so badly for the people in Texas because They're going through a lot. And you know, I have more pictures, but I think this might be, let me see. I don't know if I can. I think not. I think some of them are saved in a different way. I apologize. So Miss Jamie has excitement in her life right now because she was chosen to be one of the designers. And you know what, Miss Jamie? You'll have to tell them because I forgot what you're going to be a designer for, but I know it's March, April, and May. And so you're coming up with some really cool ideas for the members of that craft group. And I think that's wonderful. So she deserves to be a designer. She's a very talented lady. And yep, she's in our group. And there's Miss Crystal. I had to save the picture of Miss Crystal because she's just one of our very special members. We love Miss Crystal. And so here is a better picture of one of the things she's doing. And I'm sorry, I need to learn more about this, and I will, but I just love it. Love, love, love it. So she's going to teach them something to do with all of that. Okay, and this is Miss Jeannie. I left a couple in here to show you. She made masks, probably still is, for the local post office. There's Carol Ann, I believe, or Carol Sue with her mask. And here's the quilt she made. So we're real tickled to have Miss Jeannie here. All right, now Miss Jody. Be ready, ladies. I've got some cool stuff to show you. Okay, you know that she did Frankie, who is gorgeous. I love this quilt. And she's so talented. My gosh, she's so talented. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? Well, luckily, she decided to make a Mrs. for him. So here's the Mrs. Frankenstein the Bride of Frankenstein in progress. And it is gorgeous. And just to show you the depth that the work she puts into these projects, it's absolutely amazing. Look at all that. And that's how she draws the pattern, the design. And then she starts fleshing it out piece by piece, knowing what fabrics, by lights and darks, what fabrics to put where. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at that, just layer by layer, she builds it up. We're so lucky to have her in our group because she is so, so talented. If the Bride of Frankenstein started talking to us right now, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. She has nailed that. The whole attitude, the look, everything. I am so impressed. I'm so grateful Jody's a member of our group. And I think it's time for her to start winning at some big quilt shows. I do. I sure do. So thank you, Miss Jody. Gosh. I asked her if she had some extra photos to show us the process because I'm still just in awe. And let me see. I think this is Miss Linda's. I forgot to look at the folder, but I think this is Miss Linda's. She's a very talented, accomplished artist, and I love her sharing her work with us. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, you can hear those seagulls. You can hear them. Beautiful. And look at that. She's also a painter. Beautiful, beautiful painter. Let me see if I can enlarge this. Isn't that gorgeous? That's watercolors. Watercolors are very hard to do. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. So thank you, Miss Linda. Even though I didn't look at the name on it, You learn quickly, you recognize people's work because there is a signature just embedded in it. You just know. And that's Marsha's backyard. I'm hoping it's going to warm up there soon for Miss Marsha. All right, now Nadine. Oh, Nadine has some wonderful photos this week. Let me enlarge them. I am so impressed with her quilting. She is a new quilter, and look at how far she's come. So talented. That's beautiful. It's her first feathering, and I think she did an outstanding job. Way to go. Let me bring this up and show you. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful job, Miss Nadine. Beautiful. Mm-mm-mm. And that's the quilt, the Winter Village from Edita Sitar, or by Edita Sitar, that she was just piecing not long ago, and now she's already quilting it. Amazing. Way to go, darling. Okay. All right. Here's another one. And I love the quilts that have piecing, but also have applique. And how beautiful is that? Way to go, Miss Nadine. You are so talented. Can you imagine when she will have been quilting as long as I have? Oh my goodness. And here she wanted to empathize with me. Here's her ice storm in Germany. Absolutely beautiful, isn't it? I know it's terrible to drive in, but it sure is pretty. All right. Let's see. Oh, here is a beautiful sky. She loves taking pictures of nature. She's also a talented photographer. And isn't that beautiful? So talented. Okay. Now let me see. Whoops. I wanted to figure out how to make these photos at the right size so I wouldn't have to keep doing this, but I haven't figured out. So isn't this beautiful? I love how it's framed by her beautiful porch her and her husband built. But that right there could be a gorgeous quilt. Just beautiful. I don't think Germany wants many Americans over there, but I tell you what, I'm tempted. Okay. Isn't this beautiful? This is her newest work. Just charming. Just charming. Okay, and another one of this. Let me see. Whoops. Okay, get it turned around correctly so you can see. Oh, look at that. Looks like she's using wool. And don't forget that filaine thread that I told you about. If you're allergic to wool, it's a wonderful substitute. People won't know. Beautiful, beautiful. I love those tulips. I love quilts that look like folk art. Oh my goodness, look at this quilting. Oh, oh my goodness. Look at that. What a talented, talented lady. If that doesn't look like, oh, I always thought that quilting on white reminds me of wedding cake icing. Isn't that beautiful? Miss Nadine, applause to you. Brava, brava. And is this one the one that's a movie? I'm not sure. Let me see. I think this is a movie, a video. Whoops. That's beautiful. Thank you, Miss Nadine. Okay. Almost done. What does Patricia Fry have for us this week? Oh, she went to a sale and a quilter was selling things off. Oh, this is so funny. Look at this cute cartoon. How much fabric to buy? Isn't that the truth? You want to make sure you have plenty of fabric to get through all of the snow. That is so cute. I had to put that in there. But she had so much fun. I think it was like an estate sale. And boy, look at all that good stuff. Way to go, Pat. New treasures. Okay. And now we're almost done, but let's see. Cheryl, oh, she had a snowy week. Look at this. I was like, how big is that ruler? And you can see the markings on it. That's a lot of snow. Good job, Miss Cheryl. This is Cheryl with an S. Isn't that something? I love it. Love, love, love it. Somebody's going to have to send me some snow soon because by the time March gets here, I think it'll be too late. That part of snow is not fun, but looking at it is lots of fun. And I just wanted to keep this in for one more time. Just lovely. So thank you, Miss Cheryl. And now let's see, Susan. We've got Susan and then Susie. And then we're done. Susan also did beautiful bamboo quilt because that was a quilt testing exercise and did a beautiful job. Way to go. Just lovely. Okay. Well, that's Miss Maisie. Okay. And then here are her blocks from the farmer's wife quilt that she's been working on. Now let's go see what our new member Susie shared with us. And I'm going to show you her quilt picture collection. Lovely. And I could go up and spend a couple weeks with her on the river. Up at northern Michigan. It is so beautiful. I turned to Mark and I mentioned the river's name and he goes, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Because he lived for, I guess, about 10, 15 years in Michigan. But isn't that wonderful? Can you imagine sitting on your yard and watching people go rafting by? I would love it. And here is some beautiful artwork of the family cabin on the river. How lucky is she? Look at that photo. Isn't that beautiful? Here's a quilt she made. Life is an adventure. Oh, look at that picture. I'm going to save this in my quilt ideas because that is so pretty. Oh, look at that. So she has, and she's a Buckeyes fan, Ohio State. Way to go. Look at this. So there are beautiful scenes to be had at her river cabin. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So we're going to hold on to some of these. Whoops. Oh, I didn't mean to go too fast. There's that another Buckeye quilt. That's wonderful. And here she's working on our Thursday night landscapes. So I'm so tickled for her. She's doing great. And then, oops, I forgot. Let me close this down. There was one at the beginning. So she's got two versions. She is working on it. And I think she's done a beautiful job with the meadow laid out and her tree lines. It's wonderful, wonderful. So way to go. I think she is really going somewhere with it, and I'm really tickled for her. Okay, now I've got to see if I can turn this camera around after loosening one of these joints. I'm hoping, there we are, it's working now. It kept wanting to flop over when I was doing the photos. Let me close out the pictures and get back to you guys. Okay. Oh, Grayling. Do, oh, wow. We have a Grayling, a mansion called Grayling. That must be in Michigan. It sounds lovely. All right, guys. I will show you some more information after I take my class. And because I've got to find, there's a page of things that I printed out that I've got to make sure. When you take an online class, don't wait till the last minute. Find everything. They'll give you a list of supplies. Find everything. Have your machine cleaned, oiled if that's what you do to it. Have everything set up. Everything set up. If you can, set it up the night before. Because when that teacher starts teaching you, you need to be ready to go. So, whatever preparation she wants you to do before the class or he wants you to do it. And that way, just be calm, have a nice big glass of water, have plans for what you're going to eat, maybe pack yourself a little bag lunch in your own house. And that way, be calm and relaxed and ready to learn when they're ready to teach you. One thing that I've learned by going to classes is always be 15 minutes early to any class. You want to be fully set up, fully sitting, have taken deep breaths, and be ready to start when the teacher's ready to begin teaching. And that way you'll enjoy it better and you can actually get more done, because when your mind is in a whirl and when you're not prepared and you're not ready on time, you can't focus on what the teacher's trying to teach you. If you get behind, it's awfully hard to catch up. So I've got my start here, my class. I'm pretty sure it's Friday. And before that class, I'm going to have tested my Zoom. They send you a link to make sure you know what you're doing. Mark is going to let me use one of the monitors that he's using for working at home. And we're just going to get me fully set up and ready the night before so that when 10 o'clock comes and the class has begun, I'm going to be there and ready. So I'm going to plan a little planning ahead. And I paid for that class. I want to enjoy every moment of it. So I'm going to be in a good place, have slept well, be comfortable and ready to do the class. So I just wanted to make sure, because I just did I just filled out a survey, and I think there are going to be more online classes in our future. And especially until the whole COVID thing, we can travel safely again and take classes. And as long as I'm taking a class, I don't care whether it's online or in person, I just want to take a class. I get very, very excited about learning and learning something new. Just being in a learning environment kind of gets all of your brain engine functioning better, and I love it. So, okay, you guys. Oh, and just to let you know, I did a little video chat with my newest grandson that I've yet to meet in person. But he looked at this big old head of mine, and I think he saw a kindred spirit because he was fascinated. And so I can't wait. As soon as I can get vaccinated and fully up to immunization, I'm gone. Boy, I'm going to go see that. So take good care of yourselves. A really good week. Do something special for you to keep yourself going. And we're coming in. In some ways, this is hard because we're getting close. Those vaccinations are so good. They're getting such great results, and numbers are going down. So hang on, hang there a little bit longer, and pretty soon we'll be able to get out and about again. So any questions you might you want to ask me, any help that you might need on something. Oh, I love your photos. Please send me your photos because we love them. And I was checking right up until this morning to make sure I had everybody's photo that possible. And if you didn't see your photo, send it to me again. You never know if I accidentally lost it. But we love your photos. We love our show and tell here. And you give us inspiration. You keep us motivated. So, all right. And hopefully next week I'll have a quilt that needs rehomed. So be looking for that next Sunday. Y'all are the best. Take good care of yourself. Have a great week. We missed you, Miss Susan. We missed you bunches, but we understand deadlines. All right, guys. Take good care. We miss you too. Isn't she delightful? Yep, we did miss her. Take good care of yourselves. Okay? Inger, thank you again, sweetheart. And next Sunday, we'll do part 2 of the Bargello. So if you want to participate, go see Miss Donna Jordan on YouTube, Jordan Fabrics, and check that shop out and get that free pattern, and you can sew it with me. Bye-bye, all of you. You're the best. You make my Sunday. Take care, guys. Thank you to my moderators.